They used to say March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb, and we can only hope that that old folk wisdom comes true. After a long, snowy, cold February, we got a spurt of warmth and then a sustained roar of northerly winds that dropped the temperatures from the high 40s into the single digits. Ah, the joys of farming in New England. Out in the field, the pollinator patch has managed to hold on to some snow, but beneath the pine windbreak, the ground has been scoured bare down to the fallen needles. The beetle bank has also done a good job of conserving a deep snow cover. At this time of year, I can't help but peer into our neighbor's field to see the water ponding caused by continuous tillage. Both a rototiller and a disc harrow have broken down the native tilth in that soil and pulverized it to the point where it will now hold water for weeks at a time. Back on our side of the fence, a solid blanket of snow both enriches and protects our soils. The overwintered kale still looks pretty scrawny, but these varieties were chosen for their ability to survive our harsh winter conditions, and with any luck, they will provide some of the first field-grown greens in the early spring. The lengths of ground cloth that we laid out on our production beds last fall are starting to show off some of their snow-melting abilities. In past years, we have even laid them out on top of errant late snows in an effort to melt them. Their woven construction allows moisture to escape from the frozen soil, particularly under strong spring sunlight. Last year's heavy straw mulch on our garlic beds seems to have a somewhat similar effect, possibly by allowing some of the inherent warmth in our lively soils to work its way to the surface more quickly. Meanwhile, inside High Tunnel 3, the spinach has made good regrowth from the late January picking, but it is apparent that moisture is starting to be missed in the growing equation. Look at the second bed, where you can see that the middle row is growing more slowly than the two outer rows. The outer rows take advantage of the moisture trapped under the cardboard and wood chip paths, while the inner row must wait for irrigation. No description of March on a Massachusetts farm would be complete without at least a mention of mud season. Luckily, these puddles are at the edge of a farm road and not out in the field. Inside the propagation house, things are really heating up. The wire tables are filling up fast. Green onions, spinach, beets, and lettuce are already popping up out of the flats. We are experimenting with some much smaller cell sizes this year to accommodate the increased production we need due to our branching out into a CSA marketing structure for the first time. In the past, we have used 72 cell trays to produce vigorous transplants that can compete with our native weed pressures. This year we are trying 128 cell trays, particularly for crops like lettuce that will be planted almost continuously throughout the year and take up a lot more room when sown in the bigger cell sizes. And lastly, a quick word about microclimates. Here on the south side of the propagation house, the snow is long gone, due primarily to the sunlight reflected off the building. This makes a good spot to harden off our seedlings by exposing them gradually to the full forces of the sun and wind. Thanks for watching. We're excited to be forging ahead into this season. Maybe March will go out like a lamb and we can get a good head start on planting in the open soil. Please hit like and subscribe and stay with us as the ground warms up and the weather improves.